Hey, can I ask you something?
Here we go. The secret is to use just the best conditioner, but of course after years of false starts I decided to just create my own. Before you ask, I can't tell you what it's actually composed of.
Actually, I was going to see if you could recommend any methods to make yourself cry.
What?
Yeah, I have an audition coming up and I need to tear up for it.
Didn't you tell me you've been acting for years?
Yes, I did. But that was theater and you can fake it. This is a film audition and I have to cry on cue.
Oh, well, that's easy. What I do is I keep an onion in my pocket during dramatic scenes. That way, when I rub my forefinger and thumb against it, I put it close up to my face like that, instant water works.
Okay, that's kind of clever, actually.
What are you kids rapping about?
We're just talking about different methods to make yourself cry.
It's easy. I just yank out a nose hair at the appropriate moment. Voila, real tears.
Isn't that kind of painful?
Incredibly.
Couldn't you just use a tweezer?
If you got him! Maybe you're gonna be like at a parole hearing or something. You're gonna have to use what you got.
Okay, well, I don't have nose hairs,
No,
so...
Sure you don't.
What are you guys talking about?
Allison was just telling us you didn't have nose hair.
Oh my God!
I've seen him.
Okay, we were just talking about different methods to make yourself cry.
Oh, that's easy. Just think about how shitty life is.
Yes, I actually used to do that on stage. I would pick a tragedy and I'd focus in on it until I started to tear up.
Seems like a good strategy.
It was. I always used to focus on the September 11th attacks, but I'm like, I don't know, I just got over it. And every other tragedy seems to pale in comparison. I mean, 9/11 ruined me.
Seems like you got hit worst of all.
Yeah, I know.
I typically focus on how shitty life is for me in particular. You know, so I'll think of like a childhood trauma or something.
No, I'm just not in like the right state of mind for that kind of technique.
Well, not with that attitude.
I think it's worth a shot. You know, if you cannot exploit childhood trauma in order to benefit from it financially, then the terrorists truly have one.
Okay, so Jordan, what do you think of?
Specifically, I think about how I got into comedy in search of adulation because my mother always hated me.
Oh, I'm sure that's not true.
Wow. No, not entirely. I mean, my father always hated me too.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and the worst part is, after years of not talking to him, they both croaked before I had a chance to make my peace, so.
Wow, man, I'm really sorry to hear that.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. Are you crying?
Yes, I am. And that is the onion technique.
Boom! Shakalaka, 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 shaka, boom! Shakalaka, 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 shaka, boom!
Hey man, I'm sorry to hear about your parents. I never really got to make peace with my dad either, so.
Oh, wow. It's just a bullshit story I tell myself to evoke sympathy. In reality, my mom's still probably kicking around somewhere, and as for my dad, thankfully I got to reunite with him on his deathbed where I finally got the chance to tell him to go fuck himself.
Oh, good for you, man.
Hey, thank you, Mike. I sincerely appreciate it. As for you, you're a real cynical prick.
What did I do?
You feigned caring about my sob story so you could demonstrate your onion technique.
Yeah, that was pretty hilarious.
Let me ask you something.
Here we go. Look, the secret is to use just the right ingredients, right? It's the right conditioner. Now, look, I can't tell you exactly what it's composed of because, well, there was this one time where I actually ended up in the hospital, and it started actually when I was in New Jersey, and funny story. I had this scooter, okay, and it was like real hot on the fucking first. You know what I mean? You know what I mean by that, right? You know? You don't follow. Okay, look, I got to take this back a step. 8 years old.